All right, welcome to Business News and Other Shit. I'm your host, Amer Abdullah. Thank you for listening in, guys. We have with us today Sam the Man Prickett.
Hey, thank you for having me.
SP, what's up, brother?
Nothing much. How are
Good
you?
to see you. Good, man. Good. You got anything coming up that you'd like to promote?
No.
Nothing right now?
No.
You're not going to be at Zany's anytime soon?
No. I've been emailing them, but...
Oh, really?
No, it's fine.
Well, you know what? The
something.
owner of Zany's listens to this podcast religiously. So just you keep checking that email.
Yeah.
Because
We'll see. Well, there's no way. I'll just get banned. They'll be like, we don't need this guy to...
He's the last person we want on in our comedy club. Good to have you. Thanks for being here, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Kareem Bazara. How you doing, brother? Welcome back from Egypt.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me back
You got a nice
after
little
disappearing
tan.
for 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you.
It's more like
back.
a burn, but
It is a burn.
too white for that.
Kareem, did you see the pyramids?
From a distance, yes, I did.
But you've seen them before.
Yeah, I have seen them before.
You are half Egyptian.
I am.
Yeah. Sam, jump in there if you want.
The timing is just ruined with this. It's bad. I was gonna say like at any distance is like, you know what I mean. You could see it from 2 feet away. That's still a distance.
Yes.
It wasn't even worth it.
So yeah, you saw them from a distance.
Yeah, I have seen the pyramids before. I have been to Egypt multiple times. I have touched the pyramids.
Thank you for making it creepy.
Of course, that is your job usually, but
Exactly. I am king of the creeps. Well, thanks. Good to have you back, brother. You
good
are
to be back.
you are our producer today, by the way.
I am.
The man with the plan.
I just accidentally stumble onto things like this.
Good
so.
for you, man. Good
Thank
for
you.
you. And last but not least, most importantly, hallucinating Yahya. Assalamu alaikum. What's up, brother?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How you doing?
Good. Let's take this off here. For those who don't know, me and Yahya are sharing a mic today because you're probably not watching. But tell us what's up, Yahya.
You know, just living life and helping you out with the podcast. Probably going to be doing a better of the job than you today, but, you know.
What?
You always do a better job than me, Yahya. At staying silent. That was not my best material. What was that?
That was material?
Yeah, not my exactly.
He closes on it actually after his.
That's I go out with that one.
Yeah.
At staying silent. Let's get started. So let's talk about the agenda. So today is Friday, March 15th. Today is a sad day because there was a mass shooting in Christchurch, New Zealand. We're going to talk about that a little bit. It's hard for me to ignore because it's basically weighing heavily on my heart. We're going to talk about the markets then a little bit, where they're going. We had a pretty damn good week this week in markets. Then we're going to talk about the college admissions scandal. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but lots going on there. And how it relates to some finance companies, believe it or not. Then we'll talk about Boeing. There's been a huge amount of stuff going on with Boeing.
Boeing?
Yeah, the aircraft manufacturer.
Oh.
Yeah. Then we're going to talk about cocaine. There's been
Don't look at me.
there's been a major issue in New York City, and we'll talk about that.
That's a new one. You know, coke is a new problem in New York. They haven't been doing it since it started.
Yes. They haven't been doing cocaine since it started. Yeah, no, that is going to be partly what we talk about, that they've been doing less cocaine in New York as a result.
Less cocaine. Hallelujah.
Yeah, New York is about to become a less...
It moved to Chicago, I think.
And then we're going to do some quick hits. Talk about Brexit, talk about trade, talk about impermanence a little bit, talk about Facebook. Let's jump into it. So, yeah, I was at an open mic last night, and Sam had just finished his set. He left, and I walked in.
I didn't see you. You
Yeah.
should have told me you were coming. I would have hung out. I was hanging with the lady.
I was actually on the phone with Yahya over here. We were talking about something, and so I was just kind of stuck in my car for a little while. And I was like, I'm not going to tell him I don't know how long I'm going to be.
Yeah.
So I'm at this open mic, comedy open mic, right? And I'm in the room listening to some good laughs, and my brother calls me. And he's like, are you watching this? And I'm like, watching what? What are you talking about? I walk out of the room, and he's like, there's a dude live streaming a mass shooting in New Zealand right now, and he's doing it inside of a mosque. against Muslims. I'm like, what? And I was just like in utter shock. I was like kind of like numb. I was like, what? No. You know, I was like, I almost didn't want to feel whatever I was feeling in that moment. And I went into I was talking to my brother about it, and we're going on and on. I'm like, why is Facebook letting that happen? Why?
That was Facebook. I was going to ask what streaming.
He sent me a link. I'm like, bro, I'm not going to open this link. I just can't. I don't want to see this.
He was watching it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A dude had a GoPro camera attached to his helmet as he went in and, you know, did a very, very tragic mass shooting. So I literally, I talked to him for a few minutes about it, and I'm just like, what the heck? I couldn't even process it, you know? And I go back in the room, I hang up, I grab my bag, and I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and wait for this mic. I just grab my bag. I'm like, I just want to go check on my daughter in her crib, be with my wife, you know, see my son.
It's hard to be funny after a thing like that.
It's the last thing I wanted to do.
Yeah, no, I remember one time I was, me and this other comic, Kenyon. You know Kenyon?
Mm-hmm.
We were in New York, and then we were just hanging out for the day. We had some shows that night, and then we went to the Holocaust Museum, as a during the day activity. And those shows were not good because we're just like thinking about like, yeah, some millions of people have died. Let's just go try to make people laugh. I guess. Let's talk about my dick or whatever.
Wow, it's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's like the last thing. I mean, this was even more raw than the Holocaust because it was happening in the
like
moment.
Right now. Yeah.
Right. It's like he just told me, and I'm supposed to go up to him. I'm like, no. I just grab my bag. I just walk out. You know. And I just went home, and I couldn't even like go to sleep. I was just. For a minute, I'd be watching the phone, and then for a minute, just sitting there like reflecting and meditating. Like, what is happening? You know. I was processing it, and I was processing it in a way that was way different than other mass shootings I've experienced. Because I think at 38 with 2 kids now in the last couple of years and married, my perspective has changed. I'm just shifting.
Probably more empathetic, more like whatever, right? Like,
yeah.
Where that would probably affect you more now
yes.
that you have like people in your life that you care about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I had friends and parents that I cared about. But once it went to like wife and kids, it was different. I can't explain it. And so it was intense heaviness, intense gloom. It was like gloomy. I was like negative. I think I was feeling like anger towards God and like powers that be that make this happen. You know, I was like, what is this? You know, what is this? It was just kind of like anger.
It's just sick people. Sick, angry people.
Yeah.
It's really not God doing the work.
I mean,
yeah.
The way I understand reality.
Yeah.
I believe there's a higher power that controls everything.
Yeah.
If you define it as good, or if you define it as evil.
Yeah.
And it's only time, which by the way that's a very Muslim theological standpoint. Versus, I think more, I would say Christian standpoints or Christian viewpoints, which I don't know well enough to speak educationally on or speak intelligently on.
Yeah.
But as I understand it, evil in some ways is separated out from like the Trinity or God.
Sure.
So do you know much about that, Sam?
Not that much about Christianity. But what were you saying is a more Muslim perspective on it?
That all events, good and evil,
yeah.
If good
They're
happens
all
to you or
acts of
harm,
God.
all are acts of God.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, but Christianity is so, like, diverted. That's probably the wrong word, but, like, everyone has a different interpretation of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm sure some people believe that.
Sure.
Some people, whatever.
Yeah. So as Muslims, we believe in divine, like basically qada and qadr are the Arabic words, which would be like divine will.
Yeah. So every act is an act of God.
Yeah, and though we may not understand the evil acts, and we may never understand them.
Sure. It's like the Christian thing. God works in mysterious ways.
That might be one way to think about it. And so anyway, so heaviness set in, and it just began to occur to me like that could have been me. That could have been, I go to Friday prayer almost every Friday, or basically every Friday that I can for the last several years. And, I go there to get away from the world. It's like a haven for me for just 45 minutes on Friday afternoons. That's what this mass shooter, who had completely planned this for a couple years, he knew what he was doing. He knew, like clockwork, every Friday these Muslims go and they pray at this time. And these people were just, I hate to say the word, sitting ducks. Like they're here praying, and I gotta tell you, like right before that mass shooter stepped into that mosque, I know the feeling of the stillness right before he began.
Yeah.
Like there's a special power in prayer and people coming together. Which, Sam, you actually
and then
joined
just
me.
like chaos immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You joined me at one prayer before. Actually,
Yeah.
This just occurred to me,
Mm-hmm.
and you may have felt a little bit of that stillness.
No, absolutely. Yeah, very. I think that's great because like, especially with like the standing up and getting on the knees and putting your head down with like a group of people that like forces you to be in that moment with everyone else because you're like actively participating. You can sit in like a church booth and listen to a preacher and just be in your head thinking about like whatever you're gonna do after that or whatever. But that's like forcing you to do right now. Yeah, no,
exactly.
That was a pretty crazy feeling.
So that was the moment, and then that stillness, and then this shooter, I think his name was, I forget his name, Brent Tranton is what's coming to me, but I don't know if that's his exact name. Who, by the way, this happened in New Zealand. He's an Aussie.
Yeah.
And if I ever wanted to say these words to anyone, ever, which I never would, but if I ever want to say
Australians are trash people. No?
No, they're not that bad. But I would say to him, "Hey man, what are you doing in New Zealand? Go back to your own country."
Yeah.
And so that
shoot sharks or whatever your problem is in Australia.
Yeah, go
Aboriginals,
hunting. Get a crocodile or something.
So his name is Brenton Harrison Tarrant.
So Brent Tarrant. Okay.
He's dead now, I assume, right?
No, in custody.
Oh.
As I understand it. I could be mistaken.
Why would it take 2 years to plan a shooting? Like, what was he planning?
So he had a long manifesto. He explained everything out. And, he I don't know what he was planning, but, I imagine it also takes enough encouragement from some of these other neo-Nazi or white supremacist chat rooms. Like, go do it. I actually went on one of these chat rooms last night to see what was going on, because as it was getting live streamed, these guys were all talking during the live stream.
Jesus.
Every 10 were like, "What the hell's wrong with you guys? What are you guys doing? Like, fine, we're neo-Nazis, but we don't kill others." And everyone's like, "Shut up, you."
You guys are giving Nazis a bad name.
Right. Ridiculous. You can say something?
Yeah, what's interesting, I don't know if this is true or not because I didn't actually watch the audio, but I remember reading a post saying that the GoPro picked up audio from the first person that he met on the outside of the mosque, and the guy said, "Peace be with you, brother."
Jesus.
Right before he began doing everything. And it's just generally how we greet each other as Muslims. We say, "Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you." So he called him, not only did he say peace, like I mean you no harm, but he also called him a brother, and he continued on doing what he did. I just thought it was very powerful to think about, and how terrible it is that he can continue to do that after hearing such a thing.
It's just a sick person.
That's
People
right.
get
That's called hate. And so I basically fell asleep on the couch. I just couldn't even get up and go to bed. I was just so distraught. And I woke up, and I got up early, and I washed up, and I started praying. I like to pray in the morning. And it began to occur to me, like, I don't know why this happened. I don't know the reasons for this happening. There could be multitude in years to come. I might understand God's wisdom, and, like, who knows? It could be a million reasons. I'll never understand it. But I did know one reason for sure, and I was like, at the very least, one reason this may have happened is to encourage others who experience this, who are still alive, to do something good.
Yeah.
To, like, look this evil dead in the eye and do something good, like kind of shake you by the collar or the lapels and be like, what the hell are you doing to prevent this from happening again?
Yeah.
You know,
What can you do though?
I mean, the simplest, right? The simplest thing would be to pray,
Sure.
right? If a person believes in a higher power, that you pray to that higher power and you ask and request and beg for like peace. That at the very least, when I started doing that, I started feeling some sort of calm come over my heart.
Yeah.
You know? But beyond that, man, I mean, there's a lot. There's a right. What allows all this to happen and to foment further? Technology platforms and these message boards, right? They're just making that communication happen so much more easily.
Yeah, he
and
shut up the
quickly.
wrong place. He should have shut up Google HQ instead of.
God, don't shut up anywhere, bro. I think I had a yeah, that's one thing, right? Technology platforms and message boards and things like that. But also, like, I mean, this doesn't happen by accident, right? Like, Trump will call out. So the other thing is like getting involved politically. Like, this could easily happen in our country, or there could be a copycat coming next Friday. There could have been one today. Thankfully, there wasn't. You know, because all the prayers were today, Friday. Yeah, there's getting involved politically, right? Trump, for example, when a Muslim or a Mexican does something illegal or hurts someone, he'll identify them. This is a Muslim, this is a Mexican rapist, a Mexican murderer, a Muslim extremist or terrorist, whatever. Right? He'll label them right away. Today, the word white nationalist or white supremacist did not come out of his mouth.
Well, he addressed it though.
Yeah, something about our heart goes out. You know, we stand with people in New Zealand and for this senseless act of tragedy or senseless act of violence.
Huh.
You know, so getting involved more politically. You know, so there's stuff to be done that can easily be done. Supporting groups who are against. I mean, a lot of these, like the Muslim guy who supposedly Muslim, you know, this guy Omar Mateen who shot up the nightclub in Orlando, the LGBTQ nightclub.
Yeah.
49 people, I think. This is like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
That guy used an AR-15. Guess what? Our boy Brent, this clown Brent did. He used an AR-15 too. Like these are semi-automatic military assault rifles.
Yeah.
And
you just have.
Yeah, you just haven't have. You know, easy to get your hands on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, make it a little hard for clowns to get their hands on them, you know?
What it's for hunting? What if you have an army of bears wearing bulletproof jackets and
yeah, you need it for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, it's an opportunity, I think, to like challenge each person to challenge their own self, look themselves in the mirror, and like do something like an opportunity to like improve your character. That's how I saw it for me, you know. And then I heard a sermon today by someone that I was really inspired by. Like, there's this verse in the Quran that says, "Whoever kills a person unjustly, it's as if they killed all of humanity. And whoever saves a person, it's as if they've saved all of humanity."
Yeah.
And the person giving the sermon was like, what does that mean? How can one person equal all of humanity? What does that mean? And he's like, well, let's take this as an example. He's like, you know, this guy, this shooter, basically found it lawful to take the blood of all these Muslims in New Zealand. Like, their blood was lawful to him. And so what he's done in a way is make all Muslims' blood lawful. Because it could have been any of us. He could have been in Chicago. He could have been anywhere, you know? And so he's like the guy giving the sermon was like, that's one way to think about it. That's one understanding of this verse is like, you know, it's making all blood has been made lawful.
Could you explain that a little bit more? What do you mean by lawful?
Like there's capital punishment.
Sure.
So if someone was to, like the Boston Marathon bombers, for example, I'm not sure if they received capital punishment, but like they went and killed all these people at the Boston Marathon. Like, that may rightly, lawfully deserve capital punishment. Many people would argue, yeah, this person should be, his life should be taken for all the lives he took.
Sure.
But this guy's making these 49 Muslim people he killed in New Zealand, he's making their blood lawful.
Yeah.
Do you get that? Like, he's basically saying it's okay for me to take their lives. He's like, I'm better than these people. They're below me. They're not equal to me.
Sure.
And so it's okay
is he
for
making
me.
that happen, or is he just like
In his mind.
Yeah.
In his mind, what he's doing is
Do you think
righteous.
that's affecting other people though? You think other people see that and be like, "Oh, it's okay to do this"?
Absolutely.
Yeah, some animals probably.
I'm sure that.
Yeah.
So, but even if other people don't see it, my point is, in his eyes, right? In his eyes, he's killing all Muslims. He's like, every Muslim, I have a right to kill them. That's how he sees it. And then same with when you save a person. When you save, and by the way, that's true for when a Muslim terrorist, bless you, when a Muslim terrorist takes the life of a European or an American or a white person, like, it's like he's killed all Europeans.
Sure.
Because if it's, if he, let's say a Muslim terrorist kills a white American, that's in that crazy Muslim person's mind, that makes it justified to he could have come and got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And same with saving a person. So if you save a Muslim, if you save a Christian, or whatever you save, it's like you saved all those people. It didn't matter who they were. So anyway, that was a powerful verse that kind of brought me some peace as well, which is like, seeing the value of life through that Quranic verse was powerful for me and brought me some peace too.
Yeah.
And so, where do we go from here? Is like, what for me, I was like, I'm going to keep going to prayer. I went today, 10 or 12 hours after this whole thing happened, I went to prayer, and I'm going to keep going. I think that's the most important thing as a Muslim I can do, is keep going to Friday prayer.
Yeah. You get scared sometimes with that?
I mean, the thought had occurred to me before that we're just sitting here
Yeah.
in a country where race divisions are a major problem.
Yeah.
We're kind of sitting ducks. Like that fear has crossed my mind. And now that I have kids, it's just like even more powerful. Like, what? It's kind of like the school shootings. With kids now, suddenly school shootings are like way bigger to me.
Yeah.
Than they were before.
Yeah.
And even like, truth be told, man, previous massacres, I didn't feel as much pain because oftentimes they weren't Muslims,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is a weakness on my part. And so I just wanted to say, like, to the Tree of Life synagogue 4 months ago, where there was, I think, 10 to 15 Jewish people that were killed.
Yeah.
Like my heart goes out to them even more. Like I'm so sorry and regretful that happened. And for I think the guy's name was Dylan Reed, maybe, a church in southern part of the United States where he went and killed 20 plus people. Like my heart it's like, what was up with me? Why wasn't I really hurting around that as much as I am now?
Because you can relate more to
Way
that,
more.
but then now you like
Way more.
have the thing of like, oh, this is obviously horrific, and then everything that happens like
and
this
the fact
is
that he live streamed it, I think, made it more powerful. I saw some of the video.
yeah, that's like evil. You watch some of it,
a little bit.
I can't like watch
I know.
that stuff. It just upsets me.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
So
Why did he was there a point of like I guess to like promote whatever thing in his head that he was trying to like,
yeah, white
it was like
supremacy.
a commercial for hatred.
Exactly, white supremacy.
Yeah.
I think that's his big thing. Now, some thank yous have to go out on a positive note. The Prime Minister of New Zealand, her name is Jacinda. Do you remember her? Ardern. She labeled this as a terrorist attack. The first time I heard a head of state identify a non-Muslim person as a terrorist.
Yeah.
That's a first for me.
The first time?
It's the first time I ever heard it.
Huh. That's
And
crazy.
yeah, I've only heard the word terrorist with Muslims. And the Christchurch police in New Zealand and the community have all like rallied together to help the Muslim community out. So God bless them. Thank you to them the police and security who were at the mosque I was at today, and probably at mosques all around Europe and America. As far as I understand, there was stepped up security at all mosques around the world. So that made Friday prayer happen successfully, which was a huge, important thing.
No, I was just going to say, I just realized now, after the fact, that there was so much more security that I just didn't realize while I was there.
At prayer today?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why, man. And so, thank you to them. Thank you to these police departments. Like, we're people are coming together after a crisis. This is the human spirit, the beautiful human soul. That's good. That's important.
I was protected by the police.
A lot of them were by the police, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, I was up in Morton Grove for prayer, and the Morton Grove police were there watching.
Huh.
And there was a group of Jewish people from the synagogue nearby in Skokie, all standing there just to, like, hold up signs and saying, we're sorry for your loss. And,
Oh, that's beautiful.
I went and shook each person's hand. I was like, thank you. Thank you for coming out, So thank you to all them. Moving on. Let's talk markets.
Yeah, that's a real light start.
Right?
Yeah, we started really.
Well, if had to
If
be
you made it
addressed.
through that, then
Yeah,
boy, we got some goofs coming up. We're going to talk about blow. That's fun.
So markets had a strong week. They're up 2.5%. Very strong. The week before, they were down 2.5%. So basically, all the losses that we had last week were wiped out this week. But recession risks are still there. We've been talking about this a little bit, like a watched recession never recesses. Thanks. And there's an organization I believe it's called Oxford Economics, and they do a good job of estimating the percent chance of a recession. All right?
Huh. Like the doomsday clock, but for finance.
Correct.
Yeah.
They run the doomsday clock for finance. I mean, a lot of people have this calculation, but these guys do a pretty good job. Their number right now, 25% chance for 2019, 40% chance for 2020. Now, if you look back at the last 7 or 8 or 7, I think it was 7 recessions, when their barometer hits 30% chance, the last 7 times it hit 30%, we've gone into recession. So these guys look at certain parts of the economy.
Well, that number probably doesn't help either, though, because the higher the number goes, the more people will withdraw money from it, and so it'll just plummet. So
You're saying self-fulfilling prophecy?
Yeah.
Yeah, as people are watching. But the thing is, not a ton of people look at this barometer. Like, you're
I'm
not
sure the
looking at
people
it.
invested, like the
They
people
look-
that are in
yes.
control of it, are
Yes.
looking at it.
Yeah, they do. That's right. They do.
Like, I'm not gonna. I'm not looking at it. Also, I have no say in whether it does anything.
Right. No, you're right. So, but still, what they're basically doing is they're looking at a bunch of economic data, which everyone's looking at. They're combining it into like a little flywheel, and then it turns and turns and then spits out a number. And right now it's at 25%. So it's close, but we're not quite there. But next year they're saying like, yeah, we're probably going to be in recession. That's just a calculation. It's just an estimate. And the economy is still doing pretty good. It's still doing pretty good.
Thank you, Trump.
Exactly. GDP, gross domestic product for the United States. So for the first quarter, estimates were going to be at 2%, which is already kind of low. They're now being estimated down to 1.3%, which basically means the U.S. economy, if estimates come out to be true for January, February, March, was kind of weak. 1.3 is a very low number. So we are definitely slowing down in this country, economically speaking, as the data shows.
Do they aim for a certain percentage? Do we try to aim for a certain percentage for GDP?
It's a range. They go for 2.5% to 3%. The Federal Reserve is always shooting for 2.5% to 3%, and they're shooting for 2% inflation. Those are the two targets the Federal Reserve is always going for. They're going for growth of 2.5% to 3%.
Just in like money in general, just the money the country makes.
Yes.
Okay.
In terms of goods and products that are produced in this country, they want it to grow around 2.5% each year.
Because of the population increase.
Um,
Because it seems like we're doing. Like, why would we need it to grow?
right. I think population increase is a big part of it.
Yeah.
But also just like, they want to grow their goal is to grow each year because they think there might be they may have a leg to stand on. You want positive growth in life, in economy, whatever. You want to be growing each year a little bit. So that's how I think they think about it. And they want 2% inflation every year. They want, bread, instead of being $1 this year, they want it to be $1.02 next year, and then $1.04, and then $1. They want it to keep going up 2 cents or 2%.
Awesome.
Why? Why would they want to increase
To make more money,
inflation?
because they're evil, and they are literally the devil.
This is capitalism, right? I don't have the best answer of why they want inflation. I have
to make
the answer,
money, right?
I have
That's
the
obvious
answer of I have a better answer for you than why. You don't want deflation. Okay, you don't want prices to keep going down. That's a major problem.
Yeah, it's what happened in like Germany, right? In like post World War I, where they're talking about like burning money because it was worth less than like a wooden log.
That was not deflation. That was what they called hyperinflation. They were just printing so much money. I think was it World War I or II? One?
I think after World War I.
Printing so much money that eventually money was worthless because everyone had just billions and billions of Deutschmarks. And they're like, we got to burn some of this. And that's what they were doing. People were like carrying wheelbarrows of cash just to go buy like a can of Coke or something,
That's hilarious.
So yeah, you don't want hyperinflation and you don't want deflation. You want something small, incremental to be inflation. Plus everything you want. I mean, if you own, let's say, a house, you'd want your house to go up in value each year a little bit, ideally, so that that asset has more value each year. So you think about it also in terms of assets. So yeah, we had a strong week in stocks. I think one of the major reasons was Brexit has basically been averted. We've got
I never knew what that was.
We'll talk about it in a little bit. We're going to hit Brexit. But basically, it was a divorce, right? 40 or 50 years ago,
That's right.
Europe, 27 countries in Europe got together and they're like, yo, let's be like the United States. Maybe we don't got 50 states, but we got 27 of us. And so
Just
France.
with a common currency?
Correct.
Okay.
France, Germany, Italy, Spain, the UK, Ireland, so on and so forth. 27 countries got together and they're like, let's do this.
I don't think it's more common currency, but more open borders. Because there are like the euros and then the British pound and then like the German franc and then the Swiss franc. They're like different currencies, but the biggest benefit that they have is that they all have open borders with each other and all trade is free trade between them.
Yeah, so part of it is open borders. I think it's called Shenzhen, where they all have a European passport, a Euro passport. Okay. Most countries have the common currency. Just about all of them use the euro. So it also is common currency. Except Britain. They stuck with the pound. But, France and their franc, gone. Germany and the Deutschmark, gone. Greece and their drachma, gone. So we'll talk about Brexit later. But it's been averted, and so I think the market's kind of liked that there's been an extension and that the UK will not be divorcing from Europe immediately. It may still, it's expected to still happen.
Yeah.
But it's not happening March 29th, which was the date. So that's the markets. My reminder, right? So, chance of recession, market's still doing good. My thing would still be continue to invest. Keep your foot on the gas.
Let's throw all the money into what might be the oblivion, but just throw money in there, right?
Into the stock market, baby.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm saying. I have this rule of 60-20-20. Yup, repeating it. Kareem's laughing. 60% of your money goes to safety.
Cigarettes, drugs.
That's the 20% splurge.
Yeah, okay.
60% is for rent and
I thought
food.
splurge was just for sex workers.
No.
No.
We went over that last podcast. So 60-20-20. 60% safety, food and rent, stuff like that. 20% in the stock market to save. And 20% splurge, your vacations, Sam cigarettes, whatever you want. And so stay the course. Keep powder dry. For when we hit even more turbulent times, if you have extra money, then you can go up from 20% to 30% or 40%. But my goal will be 20% right now each week religiously. Moving on. College admission scandal.
This is hilarious.
Have you heard about this, Sam?
I vaguely, yeah. It's just rich people doing what they've always done for all of history, and then now they're finally getting in trouble for it, kind of.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because they like break into like they had like the FBI like break into like rich white housewives' homes with like guns and stuff, right?
Did they really?
Yeah.
I want to see that. Well, so
Yeah, they should have live streamed that
I
instead
know,
of a
right?
bummer. I want to watch just a woman with a fur coat on screaming in her kitchen.
Yeah, that's hilarious. So do you know who Felicity Huffman is?
No,
She was on Desperate Housewives. She's an actress. How about Lori Loughlin?
no,
Aunt Becky from Full House. You don't know her?
I don't watch anything.
Oh man, Becky Katsopoulos. She was married to Jesse Katsopoulos, John Stamos from Full House.
Huh?
Do you guys know that? No. Nope. Oh man, you guys don't know Aunt Becky?
When was Full House like a show? When was it big? I might have missed
90s.
it.
I want to say early 90s.
Yeah, it was.
Not yet. They rebooted it. It's called Fuller House now.
Huh? Yeah, I know. There's a guy, Craig Shoemaker.
Don't know who he is.
I think he's on Fuller House. I hosted a weekend for him. He sucks.
Meaning he's a comedian?
Yeah, he's a stand-up comic and he's bad at it. He's been doing the same act for 5 years.
Oh no.
So shots fired, Craig Shoemaker. Oh, fuck.
It's great. All right, so let's get into this. So now it's hitting finance a little bit, believe it or not. This is hitting the finance world a little bit. It's interesting. So let's just go over what this college admissions scandal is. Basically, there's a dude named Rick Singer. All right, he owns a consulting company. What they do basically is they consult families to help their kids get into elite schools. We're talking Yale, Stanford, USC, these types of big schools. All right, which are really hard to get into. And this dude had two ways he would take hundreds of thousands of dollars from rich people. All right? Hundreds of thousands of dollars he'd take from them, and he would pay off one of two people, or one of two groups. Either SAT proctors, people who...
Proctologists.
SAT proctologists.
Yeah.
These guys...
They what's a
They do
colonoscopy?
They do colonoscopies on kids taking the SAT.
You got an A on the test, but the A stands for asshole.
They're just making it that much harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Imagine trying to do the SAT with a colonoscopy up your butt. That would suck. No, don't imagine it. Sorry, take that back.
I've been.
No, but it's like it's all oral because I mean you obviously can't be sitting, so it's like
You
the
have to
answer.
be standing.
It's the answer A, B, C, D.
Oh man.
Hey.
Yeah, I know. Can you imagine?
It's just. Man.
Yeah. So he would pay off SAT test monitors or proctors or proctologists, or he'd pay them he'd pay $75,000, $100,000 to a monitor, a SAT proctor, to either
hey, how about you
give this
look
guy the answer,
other way?
yeah, or no, give this guy the answers,
Yeah.
or they'd let a proctor let this other kid take the test for this kid.
Yeah.
A lot of that.
And
Or
those are the people that are running the country, right? Of the rich people that haven't had to try at anything at all, and their parents just pay their way through, and then they end up in politics and law and everything else.
a lot of those people are those people.
Awesome.
Not all of them, but definitely some of them.
Yeah.
Not all the rich are like that, but some of them are. Now, the other way this guy was doing this scandal was he'd pay off.
Wait, that's one guy.
One dude. He was kind of the head of the whole thing.
That's ahead of the test whatever of colleges.
No. This guy is a consultant, but he's in with some of these proctors.
Okay.
He'd basically pull him aside and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna give you $100,000 from these rich people.
So
let this other kid take the test."
Yeah. Oh wow.
Or he'd go to head coaches at Stanford or Yale or USC, like the head coach of the women's soccer team. Be like, hey, let Aunt Becky's daughter get into your make her a recruit. And so they Photoshop all these pictures to put these kids' faces on these soccer pictures, kids playing soccer, and they'd be like, oh yeah, this is Lori Laughlin's daughter or whatever. She's a top recruit soccer player. Give her admission into Stanford. So kids would get admitted into these schools based on they're elite athletes. That was the other way they would get accepted. So it's either through testing, getting like really high scores, or through being athletes, even though they weren't athletes.
Wait, so would they actually be playing on the team then, or would they did they keep the students in even if they didn't perform as well as they were supposed to?
Yeah, so like someone would get onto the water polo team that was supposedly like
Just drowned. I never learned how to swim when my mom wanted me to go to Stanford.
This is crazy. Yeah, I don't know if they're on the team or not. It's a good question. I really don't.
I can't imagine. They wouldn't.
I don't think they would.
Yeah.
So yeah, they would bribe. So this guy would bribe these parents. I mean, it's really the parents, right? They would bribe the athletic coaches or the SAT proctors to help their presumably useless offspring to get into elite schools. I'm only assuming that because the parents clearly don't believe in their effing kids.
Yeah.
They have to pay off these schools, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, that's,
I'm just going to go with what the parents think of their kids.
Yeah, they really should be insulted more than anything else as kids. Like,
The kids should be insulted, right?
I'm not that stupid. I could take the test myself. And then you're like, no, you have
Shut
to.
up. We got to pay $100,000 to get you in there.
Uh-huh.
If it wasn't for us, you'd be going
That's
to community
how
college.
stupid you are. Is we had to pay $100,000 so you could go to school. Oh, man.
My pride and joy.
Come on, guys. I think you should have a little bit of faith. I'm sure some of them just had to do it because their parents wanted them to do it.
No. They were all trash. Every single one of them.
I mean,
That's crazy.
I never wanted to believe it, but
That happens?
kids with wealthy parents, I guess, are more privileged than us peasant.
You would have to. I have a theory. There's two types of rich kids, and one type is the type that feels entitled, like they somehow earn the money, and they're all very pompous and better than thou type personality. And there's the other type that feel guilty and like kind of ashamed that they have wealthy parents and they had like an easy life growing up, and they are way worse than the other type because they have this thing of like, no, I'm sorry. They like act like a victim because they had an easy life, and it oh my god, because it's like, at least enjoy it. You have it.
Right.
You're ruining your own.
Just go ahead out there. Go out there.
I can't have it.
Just think you're better than Sam Prickett.
Yeah, please. Oh my god, spit at me, in me, on me, whatever.
So yeah, Aunt Becky was part of the ringleader, part of the ring. Now, so it hits finance a little bit. So there's a guy named Manuel Henriquez. This guy was CEO of a place called chairman and CEO of Hercules Capital, and he was caught up in this whole thing. So he's under arrest for this whole thing. He's one of the parents that didn't believe in his kid's God-given abilities, and their stock for this company is down 10% because this guy is so central to this finance company.
Wow.
So yeah, he's gone. They replaced him, but I don't know if they're going to really recover.
So he paid for his Enriquez?
Yeah.
He didn't get in to do like an actual soccer scholarship or something?
You're saying because he's Latino?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I was surprised that there was a Latino in the crew. I thought it was mostly a white privilege thing.
Yeah. It's just money. It's class privilege.
I guess so.
That's what people mean by white privilege. Most of them are white because that's how, whatever works, but it's just class.
Yeah. Well, no, I think white privilege is also, as I understand it, like having access to things many other people wouldn't have. For example, certain jobs, right?
Sure.
It's going to be harder for an African American or a brown person to get that job, or even I'll say
maybe, but I don't know if maybe for something. But if you're wearing like coming in wearing a polo and slacks, with I think it's the air. People raised in without very much privilege have a different air about them. If a black guy was raised with privilege, it would have the same
Confidence?
air. Yeah, I think it's that.
Yeah. Swagger.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, there's racism for sure, but
Yeah.
I think most of it is kind of a class and whatever you
Well,
have access to.
I think that's part of it. But I think there's also a programming, right, that in our country, I mean, right, slavery was just 100
Like
30
200
years ago?
Yeah.
1865, what's that? 150 years ago.
Yeah.
That's one generation ago.
Yeah.
Like, we're one grandparent away from that,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So my point is,
And like
that was white that was white supremacy in many ways, obviously, right? There's slave owners and there's slaves, and even though the Constitution said all men are created equal,
yeah.
hell no, they weren't. Not according to that.
Yeah, dude, I read a pretty interesting thing. I'm reading the People's History of the United States now, which is just all of the U.S. history from the side of like whoever is the victim of any one thing, and they were talking about because there were white slaves too, but and whenever the white slaves would have like be treated the same as the black slaves, they would have the same problem. They stopped seeing each other in terms of race and started getting along, and this was scaring like the people in charge. So they had to treat white slaves better, so they would be pitted against each other instead of the people that were oppressing them.
Damn shame.
Yeah, crazy.
Those slave owners are bastards. So Hercules Capital is down big time. Now there's this other bond company called PIMCO. PIMCO is probably, I think, the biggest bond company in America and maybe in the world. Their CEO, former CEO, he just retired a year and a half ago, Doug Hodge, also caught up in the scandal.
There's a CEO named Doug.
Doug Hodge, Douglas Hodge.
Is he a CEO of a trailer park?
Why is Doug a trashy name?
Like a white trash name.
No, there's probably plenty of Dougs out there running companies.
Mm-hmm.
A white trash name like Sam?
Sam isn't white trash.
Sam is a prophet. Sam is a Christian. A prophet.
Samuel, yeah, the character in the Bible.
Yeah, my funnest part of it all was Aunt Becky. I mean, I know Aunt Becky really well, so she was hooking up her daughter to get in. That's the college admission scandal. Let's move on. Let's talk about...
She hooked up with her daughter so her daughter can go to college?
No, she hooked her daughter up to get in.
You can get in college, but first I need to...
Oh, no. Sam went there.
Harvey Weinstein is a college dude. I don't know.
No, I don't know. Boeing. So Boeing is under a huge amount of fire right now. They have a plane they released several months ago, maybe a year or so ago. It's called the 737 MAX 8. All right, the Boeing MAX 8. In October of 2018, 5 months ago, a plane in Indonesia went down, killing just under 200 people. And the nose of the plane was suddenly fighting the pilot as he was trying to ascend with the plane. And so it kind of did a roller coaster-y thing and then crashed. Minutes after
the nose of the plane was fighting the pilot, or it was just a bad pilot that doesn't know how to fly an airplane?
As I'm understanding it, it's the nose of the plane, some sort of malfunction in the airplane. So that's what happened in Indonesia. Then in March, literally last week, the same plane, the MAX 8, had a similar problem minutes after takeoff. Lo and behold, crashed again.
There's just a bunch of defunct airplanes going around.
I mean,
same type.
MAX 8. Both of the MAX 8.
Huh.
They've sold. They have like I think a few hundred of these outstanding, and so within hours, China grounded all their MAX 8 airplanes.
Do we have any of those, or are they just like a purely?
We have the most of them.
Huh.
And then Southwest Airlines and American Airlines each have like I think 40 or so, and then a whole bunch of other countries grounded them right away. They're like, this is way too uncanny. Like, what's up? Clearly, there's something going on with this airplane. The way it's crashing minutes after takeoff, and all these poor innocent people are dying.
You don't know if they're all innocent.
True.
Could have been
Someone could have been on death row.
Yeah, death row. Just kind of generally a bad person. Some of them were probably annoying too.
Maybe they were planning some sort of a shoot up one day.
Yeah.
All right, to that person, good luck. To the other people, I hope you're in heaven.
Yeah.
So here's the real story of this thing, right? The real story of this thing is all countries around the world grounded the airplane by Wednesday, and who was standing strong? Sorry, by Tuesday, who was standing strong? United States of America.
Yeah.
We are not grounding the airplanes. The FAA.
You got to make money.
Crazy. And so I started looking into this a little bit more. So first of all, let's talk about Boeing stock price. On Tuesday, it went down, I think, 5%. And on Wednesday, when even more countries grounded it, it went down another 5%. So Boeing stock took a big hit, down 10%, and it's still down 10%.
10% seems like lower than you'd think it would be. If it had two planes that crashed back to back, how are you going to come back from that as a company? You very rarely hear of really plane accidents anymore, and
Right.
you had two happen.
Right.
That's crazy.
Well, it's a company that makes many things, not just this specific MAX 8
Airplanes, helicopters,
all sorts
hot
of
air
military
balloons.
equipment. Yeah. Military, Boeing makes a lot of military equipment as well for the Pentagon. So
That's exciting.
So the
Pretty
only
soon they're
country.
gonna
Go ahead.
make guns with the barrel on the wrong side. Get fucking cock.
So the FAA, I started researching this. I'm like, why wouldn't the FAA ground this airplane? Like it looks like the same crash of the same airplane, and it's a new airplane. It's only been out for like 6 to 12 months or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, why wouldn't they
Both
realize?
of these happened in Asia.
No, one Ethiopia, one in Africa,
Okay.
and one in Asia,
Okay.
Indonesia. And so I'm like, why? What's going on here? And so I started reading about the FAA, the Federal Aviation Agency, and I realized that they basically end up like there's a group of people inside the FAA, this government organization, the Federal Aviation Authority, that have to sign off on and approve airplanes and say, yep, you're certified, you can go do it. Kind of like a health inspector would do for a restaurant down the street. Yep.
Sure.
No.
You get like a score.
Yeah.
I
No
hate to
rodents. You can open
Call it
up.
like a D airplane. Where it technically can fly. We will let it fly.
Even the last person, even the person with the lowest grade point average that still graduates at Harvard is still a Harvard graduate.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. So this plane, I'm like, well, so who approved? Like, who approves this stuff? I found out that the FAA has 1,000 people that work alongside with Boeing in their factory. The government offices are in the Boeing manufacturer offices. So they sit all side. A lot of them probably sit side by side or
Weird.
something. Yeah.
That is weird.
And the FAA often picks, Boeing often picks who from the FAA is going to work alongside them. They have some of that power.
Is that legal?
I mean, I guess it is. I think the FAA is kind of like understaffed and underfunded. And so, Boeing kind of often almost like certifies their own airplanes is the bottom line that I discovered. Yeah. And then I went back and researched Boeing a little more, and the CEO, this dude named Muhlenberg, all right?
That's a comforting name.
This dude called Trump after the second airplane crashed in Ethiopia and assured him, quote unquote, that all the Boeing airplanes are fine. It's just these two pilots. It was an anomaly. These both were anomaly. And so, lo and behold, by Tuesday and Wednesday, USA had not grounded them at all.
Trump, they're the best airplanes. They're great airplanes. We can't. Oh, man.
Boeing.
The irony is going to be when Trump gets in one. And
No, I think they should swap out Air Force One for one of these MAX 8s, and you got to ride that thing until you ground all
went
these
from
airplanes.
Air Force One to Boeing Oops.
Yeah, they should make all the government employees like fly on these Max 8s. Then let's see how fast it'll take him to ground it. You know, Michael Bloomberg, when he was mayor of New York, he used to always ride the subway in New York City to kind of show like, hey, you know,
I'm a man of the people.
Exactly, you got it. I think Muhlenberg from Boeing should ride the Max 8. Just back and forth hundreds of times. See nothing wrong. See nothing wrong.
There's videos of him sitting in the first class sweating. Like, no, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. No, I'm positive. There's nothing bad I can do.
He's completely.
Could I have another glass of whiskey, please?
Yeah,
No.
He's drowned himself in whiskey.
Yeah.
So, then I also looked into this guy more. He gave $1 million to Trump's inauguration. He donated $1 million.
Yeah.
At least Boeing did. And then they spent $15 million lobbying the U.S. government each year. And then they kind of had a fight when Trump first came into office. Him and Muhlenberg weren't getting along. So Muhlenberg flies down to Mar-a-Lago, Trump's golf club down in Florida, and they hang out. And I'm sure there was a whole bunch of like, you know, models and bottles happening and all sorts of crazy shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was one reason. Then finally yesterday, some other data came back from like satellites that show the exact flight path, and sure enough, they see both planes are kind of roller coastering as they're trying to get up into the air and then crashing, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that is uncanny. That is pretty unusual. Let's ground all the airplanes." So they finally grounded them yesterday or today.
Okay, so they did.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Bottom line: American health and safety second, the Benjamins first.
Yeah.
I mean, on Monday when that plane crashes and you see that both planes crashed, you got to think like, if I'm Boeing or Trump or whoever the government, like, even if we're wrong, let's just ground it just to make sure.
Yeah.
Like, it just looks too uncanny. Like,
yeah. Well, actually, only coach crashed. The first class was absolutely fine. Yeah.
They kind of like descend off into a safe capsule that has bulletproof around it with parachutes that come out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know what's interesting about that? I think I remember reading that the safest part of the plane is actually the back of the plane. So first class would die first.
Huh.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I guess it's the most, you know, it's probably not going to fall backwards.
Exactly.
I think the engines are closer to the front more than they are to the back.
Are they, though?
I thought so. In fact, that was...
They're on the sides, like in the middle.
I think for this plane in specific, they've been moved up somewhat.
Huh. Maybe that's why.
So.
Oh, you think that'd be safer if you're pulling from the front instead of like pushing from the back. You'd think you'd have a lot less.
Yeah,
I don't know
see what you're saying.
Physics.
I don't understand it either exactly.
Well, the reason why both of these crashed is there's something in the nose called like a jackknife, or I don't know, something that's supposed to cause the plane to either go up or down. And on both planes in the wreckage, they're both set to go like straight dive down, which isn't a thing that they should do. So they're saying it's something with that mechanism that causes the plane to dive.
Right. That mechanism gets locked on going down for some reason. Yeah. So, moving on. Let's talk. Okay, so now let's hit some fast things. Trump and Prime Minister of China, or President of China, Xi Jinping. They were supposed to meet at Mar-a-Lago, Trump's golf club in Florida, models and bottles, and the plan was to sign a trade deal to solve this trade war once and for all. End of March, all right, and it's been canceled.
They're not golfing?
I wish it was just golfing. I told you, models and bottles and lots of blow, probably.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think Trump's an amphetamine guy.
You think so?
Yeah.
He doesn't drink alcohol.
Yeah, well, that's he's insane. That's why. A lot of people don't do drugs because they're terrified of themselves. But he seems like just very, just the intensity just seems like he's just taking a bunch of, because I think he was doing like diet pills for a while.
Oh, really?
There's like a known thing, that's just like straight amphetamine.
Damn.
Yeah.
Do those things work on him?
What do you mean? Oh, yeah, because he's still a fat piece of shit. Yeah.
He looks like a fat bastard. Fat bastard. Fuck that. Austin
pretty good.
Powers,
Yeah.
my favorite character. Yeah, fat bastard. So yeah, trade deal is, I think it's gonna still get signed. He really wants to make a deal. I just think it's delayed. But that's just kind of some important business news happening this week. Facebook. 2 top executives are leaving the dumpster fire. A dude named Chris Cox, who was the chief product officer, and a dude named I don't have the name of the second guy. He was the
David
head
Pussy.
Chris Cox. The second guy was the head of the WhatsApp group. So he ran WhatsApp. Chris Cox ran chief product officer. So, and the whole product team is getting restructured. There's a whole lot of changes happening at Facebook.
Facebook was down the other day.
Yeah.
Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. And it was really annoying because everyone kept messaging me, "Oh, go like my picture. Oh, because mine doesn't work." And then it's like, dude, no one's works. Relax. Like,
People were
you're not gonna...
texting you to like their picture?
Like, people were texting me, "Oh, is your Instagram working?" And I'm like, "Oh, mine is working." So they're like, "Oh, post a picture for me." And I'm like, what's the point? No one else's Instagram works.
Damn.
Like, apparently some servers went down, but not all of the servers.
I'm picturing like the crackhead that's like scratching his neck and he's like, I need a hit. It's his drug dealer. You were like their drug dealer for a moment and they're like, post my picture now.
Yeah, but so like apparently some of the servers went down. Because some of WhatsApp worked, not all of it.
Right.
Some of Instagram worked, not all of it. Some of I don't have Facebook, so I really don't care about Facebook.
Right.
But apparently some of it worked and some of it didn't. So
yeah, it was down. But yeah, Facebook is going to become more of a private platform. They're gonna steal the rest of Snapchat and basically move away from the public posting towards like, private Snapchat type of posting.
Facebook's for nudes now. That's cool.
Which I don't know how this is going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, believe me, of all people, I can't stand seeing every person's stupid thought get posted on Facebook. I don't need that.
No, it's bad for us.
Right. However, 96% of their business revenue is from advertising. How is it going to, like, I don't see how Facebook's going to change their platform. So these execs left. They went all Eduardo Saverin on Zuckerberg. Do you know who he is?
No.
I didn't think so. If you ever watched Social Network, he's the dude that Zuckerberg totally screwed out of like billions of dollars, along with the Winklevoxes.
Spoiler alert, maybe.
Spoiler alert.
It's not a
Social
spoiler
Network?
alert if it's like a historical thing.
It's pretty much it happened in real life, and it's movies like what 10 years
Abraham
old?
Lincoln emancipated this dude. Don't ruin this for me.
So Godspeed, Facebook, as you. Your robotic CEO continues to steer the ship into a burning pile of flames. Brexit. Fuck that.
Ikai.
I
don't know what that is.
It's British.
Oh, but that's Scottish.
Fuck that. It's British if I say it's British.
You're insane.
Oh, yeah. Fat bastard. Give me some food. So these guys, okay, on June 23rd, 2016, almost 3 years ago, the British people voted to divorce and exit the EU. Almost 3 years later, we're in the same exact spot. They haven't divorced. It's like that.
It's bad. It's like my parents' marriage. The UK's sleeping on the couch. They're not talking, but they're still in the same house.
It's like, get your shit together, UK.
Yeah.
And leave.
Yeah.
If you want to leave the EU, fucking get a suitcase, pack your shit up.
Be like, I'm going out for a pack of cigarettes. Never come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just a bad
Pack of cigarettes with those weird, with a picture of like lung cancer on it or whatever. Yeah.
This is just turning into a really bad breakup. That's what's happening here.
Yeah.
A really shitty breakup. But they clearly don't want to get their shit together and leave. So what the most recent is that an extension has been voted on and confirmed. However, so Britain was supposed to leave. The date was March 29th.
Now it's going to be that awkward thing of like, we'll stay together for the kids.
Yeah, right. Or even just like, I can't afford rent. Can I just stay here for another couple years? Okay. I guess.
And it's just listening to her bang other dudes in the next room. You're like, it's fine. It's fine.
As he cries on the couch
Yeah.
into a box of napkins and eats ice cream.
Hey, David. No, it's cool. It's whatever.
Hey, man, yeah, go ahead. She's not my wife anymore. You can have her.
No, just go. Just go. No, I'll be here on the couch, frowning.
Oh, man. But now here's what's happening. So in order to get this extension, they're going to extend, right? In order to get this extension.
They're extending, and so is David in the other room with
the EU, the rest of the other 26 countries, have to vote and confirm. Yes, no. Like, yes, we'll let you stay
It's like
in
a marriage in like a polyamorous relationship. A Muslim, not a Muslim, a Mormon marriage.
Yeah, it could be Muslim, not polyamorous, polygamous, polygamy.
I don't know. Is that a Muslim
Polygamy is
thing?
permitted in Islam. You're allowed up to 4 wives.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what it is in Mormonism.
Connect 4.
4 as well? No, really?
4 is a magic number.
So we'll see we'll see. I mean, I think that the EU
Do all their
will.
periods sync up? Imagine that.
I think they do.
nightmare.
So anyway, that's Brexit.
Does that stand
Cocaine.
for Britain exit?
Where the hell has this guy been? Yeah, that stands for Britain exiting Brexit.
Hey Sam, I'm with you on this one. I just figured that out now.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought it was like I don't know. But names, things have names for reasons that I don't. Okay, that makes sense.
It's like your Instagram's handle, Sprickett.
This has nothing to do with the Brexit thing. So I actually Googled Mormon marriage, how many wives. They can have up to 40.
40.
Like
10x.
I think I just accidentally converted Sam, but yeah, so they can have up to 40 wives.
Imagine if each one of those wives had like 10 kids. That'd be 400 kids a guy.
That'd be insane. The more upsetting thing would be being Muslim and having 0 wives. Like, you're allowed to have everything. You're such a loser. You couldn't even find one.
Can't even get one.
Your brother's got 12. He's really doing. You go up to your family reunion. You want to like share one? Like, I'll take your least favorite. I don't care.
I'm all for sloppy seconds on wives. Last but not least, we all need to say a prayer for New York today. They had their biggest cocaine bust in 25 years. $77 million of cocaine
Wow.
was confiscated. The booger sugar is no longer in New York.
Booger sugar. I don't think I've heard that one.
How about yayo?
Yay. Yeah, I've heard yay. Blow. Nose candy. Snow. Friday night.
Devil's lettuce?
That's weed.
Oh.
The devil's dandruff would.
Devil's dandruff?
Yeah.
Did you just make that up?
Yeah.
Nice, that's pretty good.
Thank you.
You should use that. I mean the term, not the drug.
Huh?
You should use the term, not the drug.
Yeah.
So $77 million. I don't know how Wall Street's going to open on Monday without everyone having their coke dealer on dry, on empty.
It's gonna be. Yeah.
The stock market's just going to crash.
Yeah. That's hilarious. They're gonna be. Man, what's that gonna look like? Just the most bummer of an office building.
Everyone's going to have their hands in their pockets.
No one can
Everybody's
like
slouching.
acknowledge it either. Be like, hey, do you have a good weekend? Be like, no.
Yeah.
No, I did. Anything change? Nah, I don't know how to.
Oh man. Yeah. So
Just coming off of.
So say a prayer for him. I don't know. We got to make sure that our brethren in New York survive this
There's
weekend.
gonna be a bunch of dudes in business suits splattered across the sidewalks of Wall Street, just jumping off of buildings from cocaine withdrawal. Yeah.
I think that's all we got for today.
Cool.
It's been great. Sam, thanks for being here, brother.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, my man.
Nice being here.
Hey, and KB.
It's always a pleasure.
Well done producing. Peace.
Peace out, guys.